Hello and welcome to our nightly news. These are the headlines. President of the Republic Abdelmajid Tebboune received the credentials of 3 newly appointed ambassadors from the United Nations organization in Algeria, the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, and the Republic of the Malawi. Army General Sachin however saw 2 tactical exercises with live ammunition in the 2nd military region, reaffirming Algeria's full commitment to supporting continental peace and security mechanisms, and this as part of the 2nd field exercise under the North African Regional Command. 79 people have been killed and 169 others wounded in Gaza over the past 24 hours only, as massacres continue amid growing difficulties in recovering victims under the rubble. Welcome back, everyone, to tonight's news. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received the letters of credence from 3 newly appointed ambassadors to Algeria. Among them was Massa Risavina Claudia, who presented her credentials as the new ambassador and resident coordinator of the United Nations in Algeria.
أما صاري السفيرة والمنسقة المقيمة لمنظمة الأمم المتحدة.
Monsieur le Président, j'ai l'honneur de vous remettre les lettres de créance par lesquelles Son Excellence le Secrétaire général des Nations Unies, Antonio Guterres, m'accrédite auprès de la République algérienne démocratique et populaire.
Following her audience with the President, UN Resident Coordinator reaffirmed her commitment to enhancing bilateral cooperation in support of the Algeria-UN cooperation framework, aligned with the 2030 agenda.
It was a great honor for me today to present my letters of credence to the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune. I expressed to him my deep gratitude as well as to the Algerian authorities for the warm welcome I received. I shared with him how delighted I am to have been appointed as the United Nations resident coordinator here in Algeria, a country of immense historical, geographical and cultural richness. I have already witnessed the kindness of the people, and I'm truly thrilled to be here today to begin my 5-year mandate. I was appointed by the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, and it is both a great honor and a privilege to serve the United Nations in this beautiful country. What brings me particular joy is that Algeria has always held multilateralism close to its heart and has consistently supported multilateral organizations such as the United Nations. I truly believe I am in the right place. I have already initiated a cooperation framework plan in 2023, which will be implemented until the end of 2027. This cooperation plan between the UN and Algeria guides all the actions of the various UN entities operating in the country. These actions are well aligned with the state's priorities. We are here to serve Algeria, and above all, we work together with the government not only for the country's prosperity, but especially to support the most vulnerable. A great deal of work has already been accomplished, and I am certainly at your disposal to continue working together and accelerate progress towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals and realizing the 2030 agenda that unites us all.
Les objectifs de développement durable pour réaliser l'agenda 2030 qui nous unit tous. Merci.
The President of the Republic received Khatir Khatri, who presented his credentials as the new ambassador of the Sahrawi Arab Democratic to Algeria.
سعادة السفير خطري أدوه خطري سفير الجمهورية العربية الصحراوية الديمقراطية.
سيد الرئيس، يشرفني تسليمكم أوراق الاعتماد التي يعينني بموجبها فخامة السيد إبراهيم غالي سفيراً فوق العادة مفوضاً للجمهورية العربية الصحراوية الديمقراطية لدى الجمهورية الجزائرية الديمقراطية الشعبية.
Following his audience with the President, Sahrawi ambassador expressed gratitude to Algeria, its government and people for their unwavering support for the Sahrawi cause.
في أجواء التخليد يوم إفريقيا.
On the occasion of Africa Day, I had the honor and privilege of being received by President Abdelmajid Tebboune, to whom I presented my credentials as the new ambassador of the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic to Algeria. I delivered the warm greetings of President Ibrahim Ghali and expressed the deep gratitude of the Sahrawi people to Algeria, its people and government for their strong and constant support for our struggle and just cause. Starting today, I promise to work seriously and with full commitment to strengthen the relations between our two countries and peoples. These relations are based on a shared history, a common Arab, Muslim and African identity, and strong bonds between our nations. Our connection is rooted in a joint fight against colonialism, injustice and exploitation. Algeria has always stood by the side of peoples fighting for freedom and justice. Its position has been firm and consistent. The Sahrawi people remain united and determined to continue their fight for their legitimate right to self-determination and independence. We are committed to build and strengthen the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic as recognized state in the Maghreb, Africa and across the world.
The Sahrawi ambassador stated that the foundation of their relations lies in the achievements of the Sahrawi people, which have fostered their standing on both the international and African stage.
This strong relationship is built on continued efforts and work based on international law and legitimacy. It's also supported by the achievements made by the Sahrawi people, especially their strong position on the African and international stage. Through their resistance and continued struggle, they have shown that the only solution to the issue of decolonizing Western Sahara is for the Sahrawi people to exercise their right to self-determination and independence. No other solution or idea can work, and this is also Algeria's clear position. This relationship is also supported by Algeria's important role at the regional and international levels, which proves its leadership, strength and ability in many economic areas. When we look at the current state of our relationship, we must also think about the changes and challenges that the world and especially our region is facing today. This means we must work together and build stronger cooperation between Algeria and the Sahrawi Republic. We must also work with all countries in the region and around the world to help bring peace, security and stability. On this occasion, I thank Algeria for always raising its voice to support development in all areas. I also welcome its leadership role in the region, in Africa and in the world. And I wish Algeria success and progress under the leadership of President Abdelmajid Tebboune.
The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received Catherine Nourjin Koundji, who presented her credentials as the new ambassador of the Republic of Malawi to Algeria.
سعادة السفيرة كاثرين نورجين كونجي سفيرة جمهورية مالاوي.
Your Excellency, it's an honor for me to present letter of credence from His Excellency the President of the Republic of Malawi, Dr. Lazarus Makathe Chakwera, who appointed me as Ambassador of Malawi to Algeria. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yes, thank you so much. I have my colleagues here. That's the First Secretary for Political, Mr. Kawonga. And Your Excellency, here I have the Second Secretary for Political, Mrs. Yobe.
Following the ceremony, Malawi's ambassador emphasized the depth of relations between Algeria and Malawi, reaffirming both countries' shared commitment to further strengthen their partnership.
I am Catherine Nourendine Kounjé, Ambassador of Malawi to Algeria. I had an excellent exchange with the President of the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria, during which we mainly discussed strengthening the relations between our two countries, deep and well-rooted relations. This meeting marked a step forward toward deepening the cooperation between our two great nations. We also discussed the possibility of an exchange of visits between our two heads of state. It was therefore a very fruitful meeting with the President of the Republic of Algeria.
And the credentials ceremony for newly appointed ambassadors was held in the presence of the Principal Private Secretary of the Presidency of the Republic, Boualem Boualem, and the Minister of State, Minister of Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf. In other news, and on the second day of his visit to the second military region, Army General Said Shingriha, Minister Delegate to the Minister of National Defense, Chief of Staff of the PNA, supervised the tactical exercise with live ammunition named Sumut 2025. Rain al-Bahri.
During the second day of his visit to the second military region, the Army General Said Shingriha, Minister Delegate to the Minister of National Defense, Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, supervised on Tuesday the implementation of a live ammunition tactical exercise Sumut 2025, carried out by units of the 36th Mechanized Infantry Brigade, supported by units from various forces and weapons. The implementation of this exercise comes as a culmination of the 2024-2025 combat preparation year. At the district's firing maneuver range, the Army General, accompanied by Major General Mohammed Tayyib Brakni, commander of the 2nd Military Region, listened to a briefing from the commander of the 36th Mechanized Infantry Brigade. The presentation explained the main idea and steps of the exercise. This exercise was designed to improve combat skills, teamwork between different units, and to train leaders in planning and managing military operations against possible threats. After that, the Army General followed the combat operations carried out by the participating units. These operations showed a high level of professionalism in all stages. The units performed very well both tactically and operationally. This proved the strong combat skills of the soldiers and commanders, especially in using the battlefield wisely and coordinating between different units. It also showed the strong ability of the teams in organizing and managing different types of combat tasks, as well as their skill in using the weapons and equipment. As a result, they achieved very good results with very accurate use of all weapons.
شكلنا سد النهرية. تلقى قائد كتيبة 23 دبابات القتال أمر الزجاج. سيأتيكم ردنا. رصفة ضربي.
At the end of the exercise, the Army General met with the soldiers who took part in this tactical training, which was a complete success at every level, from planning to execution. This success clearly showed the high level of training of the soldiers and the strong skills of the commanders and officers. The Army General congratulated them on their great efforts during the 2024-2025 combat preparation year. He stressed the importance of continuing to improve and develop all parts of the National People's Army to ensure Algeria's security and stability. The Army General also visited and inspected units of the 36th Mechanized Infantry Brigade and the other units that took part in this exercise.
And as part of strengthening the operational availability of the North Africa regional capability and with the aim of enhancing coordination among the various components of the capability in carrying out its missions, Algeria is hosting from May 17th to 29th, 2025 at the Higher School of Infantry Jalul Abidat, the field exercise named Salam North Africa 3.
From the headquarters of the 2nd Military Region Command in Iran, where the Army General, Minister Delegate to the Minister of the National Defense, Chief of Staff of the People's National Army is making a working and inspection visit, started yesterday, May 26, 2025. He delivered a speech via video conference in which he expressed his pleasure in welcoming all participants to Algeria on the occasion of the launch of the exercise Salam North Africa 3. He noted that the event coincided with the celebration of Africa Day, which he said reflected Algeria's ongoing commitment to supporting continental peace and security mechanisms, as well as strengthening regional military cooperation under the banner of the African Union. The aim, he emphasized, was to achieve the strategic objectives of peace and security in Africa, particularly by working to make the continent more stable and prosperous. He underlined that this objective was one Algeria pursued firmly, and he recalled that the country had once again been honored with election to the African Union's Peace and Security Council. The Army General also took the opportunity to convey the greetings of the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces and Minister of the National Defense, who, he said, attached great importance to the activation of African cooperation mechanisms, especially within the shared geographic space of North Africa. The Major General Belkacem Hasnat, head of the Employment Preparation Department of the People's National Army Staff, then oversaw the launch of the exercise in the presence of representatives of the Chiefs of the Staff of the North African Regional Capability and the Executive Secretary of the North African Regional Capability, Ahmed Hamida Attajouri, along with representatives and experts from the African Union Commission and the African Police Cooperation Mechanism, AFRIPOL, as well as units and personnel from member countries of the North African Regional Capability. In his speech, the head of the Employment Preparation Department of the People's National Army General Staff emphasized that the exercise, which Algeria had the honor of hosting, served as undeniable proof of the operational readiness and strong determination of the North African Regional Capability. He pointed out that this came shortly after a statement from the African Union Commission confirmed the capability's full preparedness to carry out its assigned missions. He noted that this was taking place in a context marked by accelerating global changes and a growing number of internal crises across the continent, a situation that, in his view, required greater efforts and stronger coordination of joint African capabilities in line with the African principle of the African solutions to African problems. He concluded by announcing on behalf of the Army General, Minister Delegate to the Minister of the National Defense and the Chief of the Staff of the People's National Army, the official launch of the Salam North Africa 3 field exercise. He also extended wishes for a pleasant stay to all the participants in what he referred to as their second country, Algeria. For his part, the Executive Secretary of the North African Regional Capability affirmed that this exercise was part of the ongoing efforts to fully activate the African Standby Force in order to meet the peace and security aspirations of the African continent. He also praised the considerable efforts made by Algeria in organizing and ensuring the success of this event. He started his speech by expressing his gratitude to the Algerian state, its people and its leaders for the hospitality and the facilities provided, including sites, equipment and materials, which he said had greatly contributed to the success of the exercise. He also extended his thanks to all the organizers involved in the preparations, particularly the General Staff of the People's National Army, the planning team, and all the components of the capability. He went on to reiterate his appreciation to the member countries for the recognition of the importance of conducting this field exercise at such a critical and decisive moment, especially following the African Union Commission's validation of the capability's readiness, which according to him would now allow for the execution of concrete peace support missions. This exercise aims to stimulate the deployment of the multidimensional peace support mission in order to maintain a high level of readiness and ensure a quick and effective response in emergency and urgent situations. All phases of the exercise were characterized by tight coordination between the participants, which reflects the seriousness of the work carried out at both the planning and execution levels and confirms the high professionalism of the participants of all countries in dealing with the various situations and scenarios within the framework of supporting peace in conflict zones.
And Major General Mohammed Saleh bin Bisha, Secretary General of the Ministry of National Defense, received at the ministry's headquarters the Ambassador of the Republic of Korea to Algeria, Yu Kim-jun, accompanied by a delegation. During the meeting, bilateral discussions were held in the presence of key officials, the head of the Supply Department, the Director of Military Manufacturing, the Director of External Relations and Cooperation, and the Director of Legal Affairs at the Ministry of National Defense, alongside the Korean Defense Attaché in Algiers. The talks focused on areas of mutual interest, and the two parties formally exchanged the Memorandum of Understanding on Defense Cooperation signed between the two ministries of defense of both countries. Both sides praised the strength of bilateral relations and effective consultation and cooperation mechanisms established between the two countries, and the visit concluded with an exchange of symbolic gifts between the two delegations, reflecting friendship and mutual respect. Secretary General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, National Committee of World and African Affairs, Lunas Magraman, had talks with the chairwoman of the Steering Committee of the Federal Public Service at the Belgian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Discussions focused on a range of issues of mutual interest, in particular economic and academic cooperation between Algeria and Belgium. Algerian-Brazilian cooperation was in focus with the holding of the Algerian-Brazilian Business Forum, organized by the Algerian Economic Renewal Council and the Brazilian Embassy in Algiers. The event served as a platform for bilateral meetings between companies from both countries and aimed to strengthen trade and economic ties. It also highlighted future investment opportunities in key sectors, including agriculture, machinery and equipment, and construction materials. On the international scene, at least 9 Palestinians were killed and several others injured on Tuesday following a series of airstrikes by the Zionist forces targeting multiple areas across the Gaza Strip. According to local sources, the Zionist army bombed the town of Khan Yunis, Beit Lahia, Jabalia and the Rimel neighborhood in the southwest of the besieged enclave. The past 24 hours have seen a significant escalation in violence, with reported casualties rising to 79 dead and more than 160 wounded amid continued attacks, join widespread condemnation and calls for an immediate ceasefire from the international community. That was it for today's news. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.